I wanted to welcome everyone. This is the Impact, Influence, and Investing panel. My name is Jack Brewer. I am the CEO of the Brewer Group and Brewer Media. Just to give you a brief background on the Brewer Group, created in 2004 actually during my NFL career, I played 5 seasons in the National Football League. I was blessed. Was a journeyman in and out of teams. I got a chance to meet some really cool people. Was captain on 3 teams. Really opened a lot of doors for me. So our company really focuses on creating content, helping manage talent, artists, entertainers. We also work with brands and companies to really help them make an impact and show their impact through their content, through their brands, through their work. We're really social driven. We're a firm that we believe in impact investing. We believe in leaving our mark on the world. We don't talk about it, we do it. And so that's really the backbone of our firm, and many of the people here, really to the men and women, each one of them have helped me serve different communities all around the world. And so it's really an honor and a pleasure when you're able to work with so many awesome people, not just to try to make money, but to also make a big difference. And so I want to welcome everyone and hopefully give everyone a little insight. So I do a lot of these panels, so I like to interact with our audience as well. So I'll be giving everyone an opportunity to ask questions and dive in. But really the focus here is hopefully, for me, I want to make sure that you all take something from us, and hopefully we can learn something from you. Have a little bit of exchange and some dialogue. Hopefully when we leave, we can all do some business together and meet each other in Haiti and feed some kids and save some women. So that would be mission accomplished. So I want to start off and just ask our guests to give a brief bio of yourself, a little bit of background, maybe a minute or so, and then we'll dive into the panel. So let's start with my good friend and new JBF board member, Marko.
Hi, you guys. Nice to meet you all. It's a pleasure to be here, Jack. Thanks a lot. Jack has become, one of my closest friends, mentors, and I'm honored to be here. So, in a brief nutshell, I was born in Croatia. I grew up in Massachusetts. I played tennis, played national tennis, went to Clemson University on a full tennis scholarship. Dream was always to be a pro tennis player. That's all I thought about. I didn't really care about school too much, even though I got by pretty good. After college, I moved to Florida to pursue the pro tennis career. And after about 3 years of playing and 2 wrist surgeries, I finally gave up, and I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. So I got into modeling somehow through some friends, and then through modeling, I got into going out, partying, traveling the world. Went to Europe, went to New York, had a good time, worked a little bit, but I was, like most models, you don't make money. So I was doing anything you can to survive. I was bartending, I was catering, and then my friends were like, hey, why don't you come work at a nightclub and host a table and bring some models? And I was like, wait, that's an actual job? So I ended up doing that. Actually, the first week I had to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do this. This is like too much pressure. Bring out a bunch of girls to the nightclub. So the next week I ended up pulling through, and I went to the nightclub. They gave me a couple bottles, pulled off the night, made $150. That was the starting night. I was like, yes. Fast track forward, I started doing that. I met an amazing business partner. Within 3 months, I was doing about 10 parties a week, including pool parties, dinners. In the course of 5-6 years, I worked for every top nightclub in Miami, restaurant, hotel, doing all the fanciest parties, getting invited to the dopest house parties, yachts, planes, traveled around the world. Ended up opening my first nightclub with the guys that own a restaurant called Catch that you all might know about. So I ran that nightclub, and then I became a partner in a company called K&R Hospitality. We did all the food and beverage for the W Hotel. So I just did that for the last 3 years. Meanwhile, I started a tech company 5 years ago also called Music. It's a smart headphone company that was based in Miami that moved to LA. that was always kind of my passion and drive. And as soon as I, started the company, I fell in love with it, and I learned all kinds of different aspects outside of nightlife. And then with the help of Jack, I started an event called Model Volleyball, and now it's expanding worldwide. And I've been to Haiti 3 times. I'm the global ambassador, and I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Mr. Byron Chamberlain, before you start, y'all, this guy took care of me when I played the National Football League as a rookie. I gotta throw that out there. So I give him nothing but respect.
And I gotta follow that. I thought I had the coolest job in the world, but bringing bottles to a nightclub? Where did I sign up for that one? Anyway, my name is Byron Chamberlain. Born in Honolulu, Hawaii. Grew up in Hawaii and San Diego as well. That didn't suck. Played football at the greatest university in the history of the world, University of Missouri. After that, proceeded to get drafted by the Denver Broncos and the Minnesota. And then I played there for 7 years and 3 years in the Minnesota Vikings, where I met that young man at the end, Jack Brewer. So, grew up in some warm places and then played in the coldest places I could find. Jack was actually one of the rookies I met. I played 10 years in the NFL. Met Jack about my 7th year in the league, and Jack was one of the rookies that actually listened and actually got it. And the first thing I told him was to save your money. Number 2, I told him, well, while you're on this platform, while you're on this stage, man, make connections, build your network, and he really did. And I'm so proud of Jack, the way that he has used the network that he built while he was playing in the NFL to future success. So, like I said, played 7 years in Denver. We had the privilege of winning 2 Super Bowls there in Denver, and then had a lot of personal success in Minnesota as a Pro Bowl tight end there. Got my major in broadcast journalism from the University of Missouri, the best journalism school ever, and that's no lie. Proceeded to use that degree. I worked for Fox in San Diego, doing a mostly college football, some NFL stuff with them. Just stopped doing that recently. So, but I've been following Jack all around the world. He dragged me to Egypt, he dragged me to Haiti, and just doing great work all across the globe. As far as investing, most of my investments are real estate here in Los Angeles and all around the county. I'm actually, God, I'm not supposed to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about this. Actually, right now, I'm part of a group of 50 former football players creating a new football league. And we're doing a whole cryptocurrency play to start this league. That's where the whole crypto, we're going to talk. We're definitely going to talk. So it's exciting, and I really can't talk much more about that. I do have a huge announcement coming next month, so you definitely will hear about it. And I guess that's all I got, right?
I don't know, but I think it's about 51 football players, because I haven't heard about that deal.
I got you.
Jenny.
Hi everyone, I'm Jenny Watwood. I'm an international model and influencer. I was raised in government housing until I was about 14 years old with a single mother, youngest of 7. I decided I wanted to get out there in the world and really see what was out there, and traveling was always a passion of mine. Modeling I used to get out there and travel the world. I moved to Italy right after high school, and I modeled in Italy for 5 years. I got into somewhat of, when I was a little bit younger, I got into charity work with my mother. She took care of 80 children in a children's home, which always kind of was close to my heart. And then when I met Jack a while back in Belize, we did a charity trip, and really I've stayed connected with him. I don't want to talk too much about myself right now, but yeah, I've got into charity work with Jack, and we went to Haiti together, and we really got to help out so many people out there, and it really sparked something in me to do something more with my life than just model and use my looks and, do things for myself.
Oh boy, I'm up next. My name is Kyle Massey. I am an actor. I've been on the Disney Channel for 16 years. I think this might be 17. But yeah, I'm just a young entrepreneur. I do music as well. I work with a lot of great musicians, Justin Bieber, French Montana, Meghan Trainor, you name it. My brother and I have been on television our entire life. Now I've transitioned from in front of the camera to behind the camera. So now I'm doing animations for Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon. Check our shows out. Our Cartoon Network is called Mighty Magic Swords. Comes on every day. Shameless plug. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on Nickelodeon. Comes on at 4 p.m. So if you're at home, I see everyone writing it down right now. But yeah, I'm just an actor, and I've really been branching off. That's why my questions to Dan about cryptocurrency is because I've been really just trying to transition from being an actor in front of the camera, even though, we've had great success and honorable careers. It's just, that next step in our lives where we're just trying to ready the second phase of our lives, like my grandparents would say. So it's just an honor to be here with all of you guys and my fellow, what is this called, chair member, board member? And yeah, that's me.
That's my little brother. You don't have to talk to me. My name is Chris Massey. I'm this guy's older brother. And no, these are not real tattoos. I was at Coachella. Tattoos. It's okay. No, I played Marko on a Nickelodeon show called Zoe 101. My brother and I were born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. We moved here. I was 10. He was like 8 or 9. My mom and dad, we went to them and we watched movies like The Sandlot, Little Giants, and I was like, I want to do that. I think I can do that. And have fun and be on TV and be in movies. So my mom and dad actually packed us up, and my dad gave us 3 months. He told my mom, look, you got 3 months. If they don't book a show, we're out of there. I'm paying for the place to stay. You got a car and everything. So if it's not done in 3 months, we're out of there. So my mom was like, all right. We went there, got an agent, came here to LA, got an agent, and about the 3rd month.
That was the last day for sure. We didn't get one job.
Yeah, so pretty much the last week, my dad was coming back out to LA to help us pack everything up and go back home. And I ended up getting the Broadway show, the musical Lion King. And I played young Simba at the Pantages Theater for about a year and a half. And then right after that, my brother got That's a Raven. And a couple years into that, I got Zoe, and we've just been here ever since. So 18 years later, here we are, we're making music, doing some business ventures with this guy. And we also travel the world with Starkey Hearing Foundation as well, giving hearing aids to people around the world from Mauritius, Kenya, South Africa, Tanzania, Vietnam.
We're actually going to China this year, Armenia,
Afghanistan too.
Afghanistan.
Yeah,
so we do a lot of hearing missions. I'm sure you're familiar.
Hey, Kyle.
Yeah.
Stay on track, man.
I just want to be
and then I'm going to my next question.
Thank you, Jack. No, well, that's it for me. Yeah, so thank you. I'm Chris Massey.
Yeah.
No matter if you like it or not, we have fun.
We do.
So let's move on to our next question. So why are we doing this panel? The panel is here because we want to talk about impact at the end of the day. I have a simple formula, and my formula that I talk about all the time is making profit plus making a difference equals making an impact. You can all write it down, please. Making a profit plus making a difference equals making an impact. I preach this because for me personally, it's always about finding my purpose. And I've always tried to encourage, no matter if it's the athletes or entertainers that I work with, or the corporations and the brands, first thing I always ask is, what is our purpose? Really. Can't just be making money, because a lot of folks that make a whole lot of money are miserable. And it can't just be about making a difference, because you'll go broke if you just try to make a difference all the time and you don't make any money. So there has to be a balance there. And I think, what this panel is about finding that balance, striking that balance, and pushing ourselves and pushing our companies and our families and our friends and other people really to motivate them to find their purpose. And once you find your purpose, it's about defining your purpose. And I talk about this all the time. When you define your purpose, you live it. You don't got to talk about it. People see it. People can taste it. They can smell it. You don't have to go around and preach it, because it's obvious to the naked eye. So I want to dive into this a little bit with our panelists, and then I want to welcome you all to also chime in and ask some questions. But starting with Marko, because I know you prepared, because Marko asked me about 25 times to send him the question before he came to this panel.
He never tells anything. He's like, yo, you're going to go talk on this panel. I'm like, well, what are we talking about? Don't worry, you'll be good.
So Marko, start it off. So thinking back, what are some of your life experiences that you have had that have helped you define your purpose and really made you into the person you are today?
I've had a few that have really that stand out in my mind, but the first thing has been with you actually going to Haiti. I've always, we've raised money for charity through different ways, through our club, through our events, and when we partnered with the Jack Brewer Foundation for our event, Model Volleyball, we took the winning team down to Haiti. So the first time I didn't end up going, everyone came back and was like, man, you missed out on the best thing of your life, it was a movie, you can't believe it. And I was like, yeah, I'll take your word for it. I don't know if I could go to Haiti, it's a little, I wasn't cool with being that uncomfortable. And when I went down there, everything, my whole life just turned around, when you see that level of poverty and the extreme living conditions, and actually what you're contributing to, and how you're actually helping these people, not just with money, but actually just being there, talking to them, communicating with them, supporting them, giving them food, shelter, playing sports with them. That was really cool. And then coming back was actually the reality check. It was whoa, we got all this shit here and they have nothing, and that's when I really began to appreciate more. I always like to tell this one story. It was like the day I got back, and I go for this run by my house in South Beach. When I live in South Beach, right on the bay. All these huge houses. I'd be running down the street every time, and I'm always looking. Oh, I want that house. Oh, that one's cool. I like that car. No, I like that Ferrari in red or blue. And as soon as I got back that next day, I was running down that street, and I remember I ran the whole way with my head down. How can I get better? How can I do something? There's a bigger purpose in life than just all this other stuff that I'm trying to do. And that's when I realized, when I finished that run, I came back and said, wow, I didn't look at one of those things, And I was like, my whole purpose in life just changed. And that was to help others, to do whatever I could to help someone, whether it's your friend, your family, the homeless person on the street, maybe a kid that's lost, and then obviously do it through other platforms like Jack. So that was the biggest turning point in my life about 3 years ago.
That's awesome. Chris, great job. I asked my first time I ever heard him say that, so I just wasn't expecting that answer.
You're never there when I give that speech.
Humbly, man, thank you. Chris, I know you've experienced a lot, given your background, putting up with your little brother. I have been blessed to meet Chris's parents, and I can tell you their success rides a lot on having a strong home.
They're my parents too.
Yes, they are. You gave them hell too. No, Chris, what has been some things that have influenced your life and really helped define your purpose?
I think a lot of it has to do with our dad. My mom and dad for sure, but my dad was a Marine, so he's had a lot of discipline areas in the house. So for us, he was always just instilled hard work and not being lazy. That's his biggest pet peeve of all time. You know, my dad is like up 4:30 every morning. You know, already brushed his teeth, did his push-ups and his sit-ups, and took a shower before I'm even like up. You know what I mean? He's like, I already went to work, got breakfast. I'm like, all right, listen, it's 8. All right, chill out. I'm going back to sleep. But he instilled that in us, and I think that was one of the main things that kind of always kept me going. And he was also very influential in my passion for music. A lot of people didn't know, we actually have a record company that we started when I was 16 or 17, something like that. So we were young, and we still have it. Still have the same record company, still have the same publishing company that we started when I was 16, 17 years old. And it's actually been, lucrative for us, and we've been finding different avenues and stuff like that. But my dad was the first one that took me in to go buy my keyboard, took me in to buy my first beat machine, took me in to buy all those things that were essential that a lot of producers, when I read a lot of interviews or when I see a lot of stuff, they go, I didn't have this, or I didn't have that. I had to go, figure out who could let me use theirs. But luckily for us, we had parents who definitely were interested in our dreams and who actually, played a big role in them. I mean, just like we said, moving out here to California just to be actors. Like my dad was like, look, we'll give you a chance at it. You're not gonna have 2-3 years to just blow all our money, but if you want to go out there for 3 or 4 months, see if you can do it. If you can't, then we go back home and get back to work. And he always taught us to have a cushion. My dad, he owns a heating and air conditioning company, so in Georgia, his job is recession proof. He can never not fix someone's air or heat because it's either hot or cold. Here you might have a difficult time because it's good weather, but back home, his phone never stops ringing. So what he always taught us was to make sure you have something that when the acting is not working, or when you don't have a job, or you're in between jobs, or your records aren't selling in the music, you have something to fall back on, which is the reason why my brother and I have always been such entrepreneurs in, whatever was current and what was going on, and now like the cryptocurrency. I got my brother in that, and it was like a good thing and a bad thing. Like when I got him involved, he was like, no, I don't know about this. This is, I'm like, it's fine. Just take like, $8 grand, 10 grand, just put it there. Don't even think about it. I know, but nah. And then, and as soon as his money started kind of moving, it was the opposite. I would get phone calls every day. Did you see how far it went up? Did you see? You know what I mean? I'm like, listen, bro, stop calling my phone. All right, I'm watching it, okay? Like, it's fine. I get it. But those are the things that I think keep us fresh and just kind of keep us involved in what's going on, because we don't want to be, the guys who missed out on the, investing in Uber earlier. Or you hear those guys all the time. Oh, I could have invested in Snapchat, and I just thought it was risky. You're like, oh, how do you feel now? Well, we're in a position now where we're young. We understand that obviously with anything, risk, there's losses that could be, there, but we just kind of feel like learning, coming to things like this, getting, real information from people who are knowledgeable about it and using it in our own lives has helped us in many, many ways. So, just staying in it, and I think endurance is the key.
So Jenny, tell us, at what point and what has happened in your life to really help you to find your purpose? And if you haven't found your purpose, that's okay too.
Well, like I said, my background really is what made me decide that I needed to help people, that I needed to build a platform so people could hear me. Being a model, we didn't always have social media, it just started becoming such a prevalent thing in our everyday lives now. And so for me, I knew my purpose, I knew that I wanted to be heard and things like that, but I did come from a low-income family, nothing was given to me. I did learn hard work from the experience that I had as a child. Like I said, youngest of 7, I really had to fight my way to the top. And basically I just took that and I applied it to my everyday thing. Fight my way to the top, constantly move forward every single day. And now, like, we have social media, and I've built this space around my modeling career that I do get paid to post, I do get paid to do all of these things, and it's because I built this this platform for myself, but it all stemmed from pushing forward, learning from my mistakes and things like that, and always pushing forward and learning about new technology and learning about those things. I mean, I did hate social media when it first began because I feel like, you know, people that weren't in my type of a field, like I'm 5'7", I had to fight to get to where I was in the modeling industry, and these girls are now, you know, 5'4", and they're just getting everything handed to them, but instead of hating it like I did in the beginning, I decided to use it to my advantage. And really, I just think that everything stemmed from my childhood and having to fight my way to the top.
Byron,
Jack,
I know you are wise and have seen a lot. So I'm going to spin the question a little bit differently to
I
you.
want to answer that question.
I know, but you can in a different way.
Okay.
At what point in your life did you realize that you had influence? And were you ready for it? And in that point, did you know your purpose? And if you did or didn't, tell us how you figured that out.
At what point in my life, you know, I really didn't realize how much influence I had from the platform as an NFL player, because I never looked at myself as special, you know, like how other people look at people. I remember struggling with the fact that someone wanted my autograph. That blew my mind, because I just, you know, I thought, I always was taught to be humble, was always taught to not, you know, to treat everyone the same, not think you're better than anyone. So to answer your question, at what point? Probably the time once I went as a free agent to Minnesota, actually, because I had some great examples and great veterans in my locker room in Denver, guys like John Elway, Shannon Sharp, Terrell Davis, Steve Atwater. These guys were my mentors and guys who taught me and took me under their wing, and you know, they kind of set me up for success not only on the field but off the field, as far as like investing, saving, doing the right things, and that's kind of how, you know, me and you connected. The fact that I felt like someone had done it for me, so I need to do it for other young guys. And I remember taking you and Kyrie and other guys like that, and really pouring all of my knowledge and things that were poured into me, into you guys. And like I said, I'm so proud of you, the way that you've taken the ball and you've run with it. God, yeah, so that's the point. But going back to the first question, because I really wanted to answer that question, you know, what kind of influenced me as far as finding, you know, my purpose and finding, you know, one of the things that is real huge for me is serving others. I come from a family of servicemen. My father was over 25, 26 years in the Navy. My older brother, 14 years in the Marines. My younger brother, he's currently serving like 16 years in the Army. I'm the only male in my family that didn't serve this country. My grandfather was in the Army as well, so. But just seeing them, the sacrifices they make, God, I'm getting emotional. But you know, the sacrifices they make and their willingness to just serve was a huge impact on me, wanting to be of service to others. That's why I started my foundation in 2000, and we just, as a vehicle to serve the different communities that influenced me, San Diego, and in Denver, and yeah, just watching those guys and those guys, just a huge impact that they had in my life, and just watching their service is the reason I wanted to serve others.
It's great. I've been thinking a little bit about, you know, whether it's your company. A lot of you are already doing some amazing things. I know I see Patrick in the back. I work really close with Patrick in his company, helping folks all over the country who struggle with Alzheimer's disease. kids with autism. And so, there is a balance that you strike, becoming a social enterprise or a company that can really make a huge impact on whatever community that it is. And it's oftentimes about the people. And Byron said it, the reason I switched questions up to Byron is because you gotta remember, this is one of my biggest mentors. And so when I ask him questions, I want him to answer them differently because he's coming from a different place in my mind. And so I try to mentor as well. And so I started a program. I wanted to just mention this program because I think it could be relevant to you all. I started a program 4 years ago. And there was a huge epidemic in the league, during the time that Byron was there and myself was playing, and that was guys going broke. I played in the National Football League where you have the gladiators of our country, the biggest, strongest, fastest, most athletic men, and a lot of times the smartest men who would spend all their money, get taken advantage of or take advantage of themselves. And we watched the cycle happen over and over. I mean, up until almost 90% of the guys we were playing with, some of them were making 20, 30, $40 million. One of my former friends made $50 million and spent it all. And so, that's not easy to swallow. And so what I tried to do was to figure out how in the world can I make an impact on this? How can I help this challenge? And so, after doing a lot of research, I was blessed. I got my undergrad and master's in sports management before I went to the NFL. And so I did a lot of research, wrote my dissertation on a couple of these topics. And so I started an MBA program. I found a university that was willing to craft a Master of Business Administration program for athlete and artists. We still run it today. And so I did a study, and I didn't find one single athlete or artist who had their MBA that had gone broke. Doesn't exist. If someone can find someone that does, please let me know, because my research, I've never found one. So I said, aha, I got the answer. But the problem was, what many athletes and artists going to get their MBAs because they had to play their sport, or they had to go act, or had to go do whatever. So we crafted an executive MBA program that fit the schedule of the athlete, that was tailored toward the athlete and artist, and allowed for them to actually go and get their degrees, and it's been wildly successful. We graduated over 80 athletes and artists so far in our program with the MBA. We're about to announce we're moving to a new university in New York, in a beautiful school. We're about to announce that. And so I only bring that up because when I'm in environments with people like you all, I have to talk about it because I need you. And if you have it in your heart, or you have a passion to mentor athletes and artists, or come share some of your experiences with athletes and artists, we need it. We have a population that needs it, that needs good partners, that needs good people who can give them some of their experiences to take with them. And so I want to leave you guys with that, just because I love you to come to our class, talk to our class, be involved with it as a way to pay it forward a little bit. So I welcome you all to do that. But going on to my next question, because I kind of got off topic. I wasn't expecting to talk about that long, but it was on my heart. So when God put something on my heart, I talk about it. I wanted to, yes?
Well, may I make a comment?
Sure.
This is the most wonderful conversation about social capital that I think I've ever heard. What you all are doing is phenomenal. And I love these stories about the grassroots that you came from. But what I want to comment on is that a couple of you are actually military kids. And it's wonderful to see how that gift of public service transcends generations. I'm a retired Air Force officer, so I've raised 3 children. I've raised 3 children, and it's so wonderful to see that perhaps this is what they can bring to humanity, is what you all are bringing today. So thank you very much.
Thank you. So I'd like to dive more into that dialogue. We talk about impact and we talk about making profits, and we're all here investing and we want to make money. But how can we work closer? How can we merge worlds? Right? How do we create that mastermind alliance? I'm a big Napoleon Hill guy. I try to structure a lot of my life around many of his teachings. And I truly believe that the people in the circle that you create and the energy that you put off to the world is really all we have, right? And so how can we merge those worlds? What are some of the things that you all can do in your business to make a bigger impact, to serve? Yes, sir.
Yeah. So with my company, Blue, one of the biggest things and my purpose, what I found out building this company, growing up, I've always been drawn to talk to people or to students that a lot of other students didn't like to talk to, and they would always hang out alone and no one really talked to them. So I've always been drawn to talk to individuals like that and open it up because, it's amazing, that these people or these students and just people in general that, are looked upon society as just, loners or, they're alone a lot of time. And according to statistics, 1 out of 5 people feel lonely. And people would rather say they're depressed rather than lonely. And so one of our big movements behind our company is we want to build a world of friends, right? And the way to build a world of friends and the way we're doing it is using technology to encourage people to be social in person. And that's why, I believe our company would bring a lot of social impact to society in general, because now as growing up and we have social media, we've kind of became disconnected in the physical community, right? Where we're just on social media, socializing, but we're not really socializing with the person next to us. And so that's one of our big impacts, is to encourage people to be social and authentic and to encourage those social interactions on that.
Great. In the back.
So I'm actually with Blue as well. So just to top that off, we would actually like to work with individuals just as yourselves. We're a company that's all about also social impact, bringing together tech and music specifically in a creative space that isn't always suit and tie, where people can really just be themselves and be social and not get so caught up in that. So thanks for all your guys' effort and actually coming here and speaking. It's not often that we see this mixture of tech space and having entertainers come in and give us their feedback. I did have a question specifically for Jenny. As far as working with some of the companies that have contacted you on social media per se, what are one of your pet peeves that you've come across right now as far as people trying to do business with you as an influencer?
Well, it is a business, and it's hard for me when I'm constantly getting, hey, I'm going to send you free things and stuff like that, but not really create a business or a partnership together. It's just like, hey, I'm going to send you some things, will you post it for me? And I really am trying to look for things that fit my personal profile and what I like, because I know that that's what my base wants to see. But really, it is a business, and you also have to somewhat come up with some sort of compensation if it isn't something that I'm too interested in. It's a little bit difficult of a question to answer because, I mean, it's just random things that come in and out, but I usually have someone filtering those emails for me. But for me, my pet peeve is when people ask me to do things for free and it really has no base of like my following.
No relatability?
No relatability at all.
For anybody, you could, from a business perspective, you could give your younger self one main tip of advice. What would you say?
I would give myself advice to read as much as possible, learn as much as possible, have mentors early in life. You know, when I was younger, I mean, my father's always going to be a mentor to me, but you know, I didn't have those role models that were like I looked up to. You know, that like I wanted to learn from, I wanted to be around, and it wasn't until recently, probably the last like 6-7 years, where those role models like really inspired me and took me to the next level, because just being around them, I wanted to be like them. You know, Jack including one of them, the CEO of our tech company, one of them. You know, a few others. I mean, you know, I started reading a lot of Tony Robbins. I just went to one of his seminars. So, you know, I listened to those kind of podcasts, YouTube channels, books. So So it's really knowledge and learning from those kind of people that really took me to another level, you know, not just in business, but my whole personal level and self-development. So that, you know, I think learning is huge, but how to get people to learn is more important, because when you're young, you're naive and you might not want to, you know, listen to what someone's saying. So it's really a trick of getting someone engaged and interested to learn more and to be inspired. So I think it's important for all of us to just keep inspiring young people and make it cool and fun and interactive as possible. And, you know, that's what I would recommend to my younger self.
I probably would have said some of the same things, and I think the main thing I would have told myself was, don't be afraid to ask for help. I think when you're younger, you're just very like, I can do it on my own, or you know, I'm an adult now, and I think that's like was probably a good downfall. I would say when I was early on, not wanting to listen to certain people, and would take choice advice from people that I thought that I should listen to or that I wanted to listen to. And I guess I would tell my younger self to stay persistent, just stay in it, because it definitely got cooler on the other end too. So
I would tell my younger self, just focus, because, you know, there was a time in my life when I was just really distracted. It's just like, whether it was on tour, whether it was on set, or who's who, or being seen with this person, or, you know, it was a lot of times where my want to be, you know, seen or follow the crowd would really cost me, you know, whether it be an audition that could have changed my life, or a role that could have, you know, switched it all up for me. So a lot of times I would just say, if I could go back in time, I'd tell myself, I say, Kyle, focus, you know, make a plan, because now I have a plan. Now I am focused. And it's just, I just wish I got to where I am now a little bit faster. So I would just say, Kyle, focus, you know, you need to have tunnel vision and keep it going, persistence.
I think the one thing I would tell my younger self, definitely some of the same things you guys said, but the one thing that I would, piece of advice I'd give myself is, you know, if you truly believe in it, if you truly, you know it, don't be afraid to do it. And don't let the outside noise talk you out of doing it. You know, there was a time that I had some great idea, a great idea, and I believed in it. I believed it within my heart in this idea, and you know, and I let some of the outside noise talk me out of that idea instead of putting all my efforts and all my energy into it. And somebody else took my idea and ran with it and was very successful with it. And yeah, so that's the piece of advice I give.
Damn Amazon.
I would have to, all their things are what I would do as well. But I feel like collaborating with other people and learning really young that other people can help you out, mentoring for sure, but also finding a partner is something key. I always did everything on my own, and I feel like I could have got further ahead in life if I had found a partner that, you know, the things I was bad at, they could have been great at. So for me, I think finding a partner or just meeting other people and always like taking advantage of opportunities in everyone that you meet.
For me, I started my company when I was 19. I had 2 kids early. I had 2 kids before I was 19 years old. And so playing college football game allowed you to make $2,500 a year. $2,500 a year. And so trying to take care of 2 kids playing college football, that was impossible. So I had to hustle. And so my first, call it decade of running businesses, I was chasing money. Up until I was 28 years old when I defined my purpose and found my purpose when I landed in Africa, dropped to my knees, crying like a baby. And so I will always wish that I had understood and known that as a young kid to chase my purpose and not chase the dollar. And I say that, and that's why I always talk about purpose, because that word is so strong to me. Because when you chase your purpose, and if you really chase it, and the closer you get to it, that money is going to be there. And it's going to be enough to make you happy. It's going to be enough to live a few fruitful life. You're not going to be stressed out and worried. Your health is probably going to be great. And so I think, for me, if I could go back, that's a great question. If I could go back, that's what I tell myself. But the second thing I tell myself is to trust what I know. And I grew up with the privilege to play for some great coaches, great teams. So I understand what a team means and how important having a strong team around you is. But I really didn't live it when I was younger, right? I thought I knew everything. I thought I was the man making the decisions. I had good people around, but I didn't really listen to everybody. And so, you gotta build that alliance. You gotta build the people around you, because you can do so many things if you put yourself around powerful people, good people who are humble and God-fearing and spiritual, and really there to serve people. If you put yourself around those type of folks, you can't fail. So I tell myself that as well. Anybody else? I think we have like 2 or 3 minutes. Maybe 1 or 2 questions. So I'm gonna leave the panelists with this. One last thing to end this up.
Okay.
What's your biggest weakness? And how can you fix it? What are you gonna do to fix it?
What is my biggest weakness? Sometimes, I was actually just thinking about this, like yesterday, which is random. Everyone should be thinking about their weaknesses.
You should.
But I was thinking about that yesterday, and I believe that sometimes that my weakness is distraction. Like, I have a hard time. It's like not like distraction in the sense of, I'm taken away from something, but it's like I distract myself. I have so many thoughts and so many ideas and so many just things that I want to do. I feel like that there's just not enough Kyles to accomplish them the right way. And so a lot of times that my biggest weakness is the fact that I have too much creative ability to create, and sometimes, that's a great thing, but sometimes it limits your creativity because you're like trapped in your mind. So that I struggle with that a lot. Just trying to find something, like trying to hone in on what I'm good at.
My biggest weakness has always been organization. I do a lot of good things, but I'm like unorganized when it comes to paperwork, bills, scheduling, all that. So, how I'm going to improve that is I hired an assistant. I started doing goals, and I started writing down. I started using a journal about 6 months ago, and I really started 2 years ago. I started writing down goals. I started setting short-term goals, mid-term goals, long-term goals, and really believing in my goals and reevaluating them. And the last 6 months, I've been actually doing a journal. And I've been doing it every single day, and it's helped a lot. And every morning, it's what are the 3 things I'm grateful for? What is my goal, and what are my 3 targets for the day? And at the end of the day, I write down what did I learn from the day, what were my wins for the day, and what am I grateful for? And those will constantly change, and I'll set new targets, and then I'll go back a week, I'll go back a month, and I'll check those things off, and that's kind of helped me a lot. But the assistant's going to help me a lot more too.
I really got it. She's giving me the old, in the NFL, if you do that, you get fined.
Don't catch it. No, for me, I think my biggest weakness is also one of my biggest strengths, and that's my passion. I feel like a lot of times I'm very passionate about a lot of things, And sometimes I'll put so much energy and passion into something, and if it falls through, or if the deal, went south, or it wasn't something that it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, or something like that, I'll tend to beat myself up so much more about it because I feel like I fell for it, or something like that. But I think that's really it. It's having too much passion sometimes, where it's almost like you have to win a lottery ticket. People just already know how they're going to spend it before they went and actually made sure they had it in their pocket. I'm kind of one of those guys. Like, the deal's going down, it's going to be great. I'm already thinking about how cool the stage is about to look and how much we're about to make. And then it goes and you know what? We're not going to do that one that day. Actually, we're going to go with someone completely different than you. You're like, what? That's cool. I wasn't even wanting to show up to your event, actually. But no, so that's it.
Now she's smiling at me, so really quick, go.
Really quick, I'll keep mine short. Biggest weakness, at times I put too much on my plate. And it's hard to just get everything done. I've got so many different projects that I want to work on, and I'm piling it on. I need to just, sometimes just take some stuff off, master this, finish that, and go to the next thing.
That's exactly my weakness too. I feel like you explained it perfectly, so that's fine.
I feel like we have a lot of the same weaknesses, but it's like different types. It's romantic, guys. We should all go out.
Well, my weakness is 2 letters, N-O. Jack struggled with saying no.